for the opportunity of being here. No, I'm good with the mic here. We thank God for the opportunity of being here. Sister Grant, good to see your face. I usually have a strategy for all the new speakers. When I was here developing myself, I used to have a strategy. When you're speaking and you get nervous, there's a way to overcome it. You find someone in the audience that is cheering you on and pay attention to them, or you look over the audience head as if you're looking at them. So that is the secret to public speaking. So Sister Grant used to be one of the people, and Mother Birch used to be right there. She used to be one of my secret weapons, because it doesn't matter who is up here, Mother Birch would be encouraging you. She's encouraging you, and you use that. So I thank you, and to the great Sir P. Blessing, sir. We spend many days at this altar, so it's not something that is new to me. I was baptized in that pool, and I learned to teach right here. Many Wednesday nights, we'd go in the back and eat, and then Sister Grant, if she's leading, I would say, you're going to do the exhortation. So we didn't have time, and Pastor Elliott, come to realize how valuable that is, because you have a lot of pastors in the church that except you give them time, they can't teach or preach. But we were built on the spot to give exhortation, and you don't know where the reading is coming from. Or you would turn up and Sir P said, we're going to share the word today. Prepare something. And it's when you're here, you have to build that sermon. I think the last one we did was for a Lord's Supper. I did the high priest, evangelist did something else, and Sir P did something else. And it was the Sabbath, we put that together, and everything had to jive together. So once I stand there, I'm good, man. It's familiar territory. I have done a lot of work at this altar, both in private and public. Yep. This altar is where I learned to seek God. By myself. Many Sundays. Only Sister Johnson knows the story. And those who come early for church. So today, I am here to share with us, because I have praise God. Yes, so I am here today because I have a particular belief, right? And the belief is one of the reasons why we are having issues with commitment within the church, with a lot of the members' experience with the church is only grounded in their worship encounter. Once they leave worship, the church is not involved anymore in their life. Does that make sense? So once there's a conflict in their life, and that conflict has to do with the church having a certain value, and their value is in contradiction to that, what do you think they will do? What do you think they will do? Leave the church, because they can always have the worship experience somewhere else. But if the church is contributing to your life in a holistic way, you will always have to contemplate, do I want to trade this? Make sense? So I am asking everyone in the church, whether you want to charge for it, because sometimes the knowledge that you have is valuable, and you can charge for it, but I'm not telling you you should. Come with your expertise that can change the member's life, and give it to them so that they can make better decisions in their life. Our life is more than just the worship service. And if the other aspects of your life is not right most of the time, it will affect your worship. It will. Are we hearing this? So my area of expertise, apart from teaching the Bible, is in credit, personal credit, because there's different type of credit, and debt collection. You're having issues with debt collector, that's my area of expertise in teaching you your rights and showing you how to legally deal with debt collector. Not legal advice, because I'm not a lawyer, but what the law says, right? So this evening we will have a conversation about credit. It's a basic conversation. What I want you to do for me is this. I want you to take notes once you can take them. If you have questions, all your questions, because I have learned a lesson. I like to teach and communicate in an interactive way because I feed off that. But I realize when I do presentations like these, once I begin that, the last place I was in Pennsylvania, and I talked for 1 hour and 50 minutes, and I only got through 14 slides because of the interaction. So I want to try and cover as much. This will be, for now, as projected, this will be a multi-part series. So I will come back, if it's according to God's will, and give you more. Because credit, there's levels to the information. I will just lay the groundwork here, because if you are building a house, except you understand the fundamentals and the basics, it won't make sense when you get to the higher level. For example, you're going to school. If they just take you from the first grade and say, oh, you're so good, and put you in the 4th grade, will you be able to follow what is in the 4th grade? So they have to start you at grade 1, so you know the fundamentals, and we build on that. Is that okay? So for this evening, even though there are different levels of credit literacy here, I am going to go through all the fundamentals that you need to understand credit, how to build out your credit profile. Then the next time I come back, I might speak on to show you how to repair your credit if it's damaged. Because any credit that you have, doesn't matter what your credit looks like and what it is, it can be fixed. You understand? So we'll do that another time. So the first thing we will look at, we got to work through some definitions. Because if we don't work through definitions, we're going to be lost. So this is just the fundamentals and the foundation I will be laying this evening. Praise God. All right, let us, Brother Chris, let me get the first slide. What is credit? Right? That is the first thing we have to ask. Sometimes when we start to have discussion, we start to discuss, and you have a completely different understanding from what I have. Right? So credit is the ability to borrow money or access goods or services with an agreement that you will pay later. That's what credit is. That is the fundamental basics of credit. It's the ability to get access to goods or services and pay for it later. The law says to defer payment. The law defining the Truth in Lending Act and the Equal Credit Opportunity Act and the Fair Credit Reporting Act defines credit as the right granted by a creditor to get goods or service and to defer the payment. Now your rent is not credit. Your car, if you buy a car and finance it, that's credit. But if you lease the car, that's not credit. A lease or a rental agreement is not credit because you are making payment contemporaneously for the usage. Once you stop paying, you lose the usage. Right? When you rent an apartment, that's not credit. You did not get credit extended to you. You are paying for the contemporaneous use of the property. All right? We understand the difference? One, you are paying for the usage while you're using it. The other, you get it, and then you pay later. Now, credit, I want you to pay attention to the last sentence. And this is important, and that's why I am here. Credit is let me hear this. Credit is what do we use tool to do? And work. Put it to work and build. This is how I want you to conceive your credit. Your credit can be leveraged. There is not one of us here that was born with a gold spoon in our mouth. Is that so? Proverbial gold spoon. But when you come to America, and you establish yourself, they give you a silver spoon. Yes, you get a silver spoon, but you might not know it's a silver spoon. And that silver spoon is your credit. If you understand how to leverage your credit, you can transform your life. If you understand how to use it as a tool, you can change. Notice what it says. Credit is a tool and not income. But credit, if it is utilized the right way, can become income. Use it to generate a whole lot of income, more money than you ever imagined in your life. But you got to be responsible. I don't like the preachers who take the mic and then tell you, praise God because your life will be changed tomorrow. And you don't have any information to change your life. You get what I'm saying? You got to know in order to grow. So you need information to transform what your life look like. And once you have the right information, your life will be different. What did the Lord say? My people perish. That is not just speaking on moral issues. It is a life principle. Once you understand that and you are informed, you will be able to change your life. Next slide, please. So we understand what credit is, correct? Are we familiar with credit bureaus? Are we familiar with credit bureaus? Let me ask you this question. I just want to see your hand. Equinox, that's a gym. Equifax. How many of you believe, let me not ask it that way. When I ask questions, people try to think I'm tricking them, but I'm tricking you with this one. How many of you believe that the credit bureau is the government? Put up your hand if that's your belief that you historically had. What is a credit bureau? A credit bureau, also called a consumer reporting agency, that is the legal name. The word credit bureau is the informal name. The legal name is a consumer reporting agency. They are private companies. They are not a government agency. There are hundreds of these. Hundreds. There used to be thousands, and they consolidate. The major three that we call NCRAs, Consumer Reporting Agency, the national ones that are the biggest, we know them as Equifax. Let me get the other two. And TransUnion. They are the big boys. They are publicly traded companies that you can invest in. They are the ones that collect your credit data. Watch this and pay attention to this. They are called consumer reporting agencies. There are many consumer reporting agencies. Everything that you do is being collected, being stored, and being resold. Every information that you put out in the public. Your bank, how many of you write checks? How many of you write checks? Let me see your hand. There's a consumer reporting agency that collects your checks data. Every check that you have written that has been recorded, it's collected and it's there. When they want to verify whether or not they should trust your check, they pull that consumer report. It's called a consumer report. Your credit report is a consumer report. We clear on that? But it's a consumer report that deals with your financial behavior. Your credit report is a moral statement about whether or not you can be trusted to be loaned to. That's the story that your credit report tells. Can I trust Pastor Elliott to give him this money and he will pay me back? In order for the lender to partially answer that question is they pull your credit report and it tells the story. So your credit report goes before even you. Now, I want to add something to this that is not here. There is some new things happening, and I want you to be aware of this. Your traditional credit report is one of the factors that is being used. But one of the things that is being done and developed consistently is your bank account. So now you have consumer reporting agency. How many of us are familiar with the company that is called PLAD? PLAD. How many, have you tried to borrow money or do something and they say link it to your bank account and you see the black and white thing pop up that says PLAD? All right, what PLAD has begun to do? You see why you link it through PLAD? PLAD has an algorithm that runs the data in your bank account and determine what your cash flow looks like. And then they will tell the lender whether or not you have the cash flow to get the product that you are getting. So you have some what we call alternative credit products. So you have credit cards that you can get, right, when you're trying to build credit. That is not a traditional credit card. What they use to determine whether they give you the card, your bank account information. So how you behave with your money in your bank account is now scrutinized. A lot of overdraft mean that you are in money problem. You're in the red and you can't manage money. So when they run your bank account and they see that you're overdrafting every minute, especially if you have credit that is not so healthy, you need to protect your bank account data. Are you following me? All of this data affects how you are able to leverage and function. One of the reasons why I decide to also do this in the churches is because credit is an embarrassing reality. When we have bad credit, do we want anyone to know? Most of us, even if we are stifling, we are not telling anybody. Once the credit discussion begins, we disappear. And we go inside to buy a car or somewhere else, and we are embarrassed. Because the guy said to you, I have this joke that I often run with my wife, but it's true. Have you ever noticed when you go into the government agencies that they talk very loud? When you go at the desk and something you want to say something, but you don't want anybody else behind you to hear, and they are so loud. That's how it is sometimes you go in to apply for credit, and the guy at the desk, what's your credit like? And everybody else in the room hearing, and you walk up and say, I don't think it's so good. Because you don't want anybody to hear, right? Because you feel embarrassed. And I am saying to you, when we leave here today, you will understand how to control what your credit looks like and understand how to build out a proper credit profile and control your freedom. Your credit has a certain level of freedom tied to it. Your credit is no good. You can't rent. You can't do most things. And people who protect their credit a lot of time is not going to want to put you on because you might damage them. And we have stories of people being helped with their credit by others, and what end up happening? Disaster. It become church problem. It become church problem. Church you have to be running. Because help become an issue. I'm not telling you anybody's business. All right. So we have credit, correct? And what do we have? Credit bureaus. Who are the credit bureaus? They collect the credit data, right? So the credit bureaus collect our credit data and resell it. Do we understand this? They resell our information. How many of you notice when you are at your house, credit cards keep coming in, offers? The reason why that is the case is because the credit bureau is selling access to your credit file. You have the right to put a stop to that, because one of the things that governs, and when we get down to the law, if I get there, I am going to show you where your right lies. You have a right to privacy, and the right to privacy governs your credit report. So in enforcing your right to privacy, you can stop those offers from coming to you. Because every time you see one of that, the credit bureau made money off you. And there's a website that you can go to and opt out, and they can't sell you info unless you authorize it. For like 10 years now, nobody can sell my information like that. You just go there, sign up, and opt out. That's why you're getting that. They're selling it. The credit bureaus make so much money. Every time a lender pulls your credit report, they have to pay the credit bureau for your score and the report. They get paid twice. Every time your credit is pulled, they get paid. What is a credit file? So we have the credit bureau. What is a credit file? Listen to me carefully. Credit file is a digit in our time now. Back then it wasn't digital, but now it's mostly digital. A credit file is a digital record of your credit history maintained by the credit bureau. Each credit bureau creates its own version based on the data from lenders, debt collectors, courts like bankruptcy, public records, so on and so forth. Now your credit file, let me do this and then I combine both of them so we move much faster. What is your credit report? Keep in mind what I just tell you about the file. I'm trying to save time. Your credit report is a snapshot of your financial behavior. It details your credit accounts, payment history, credit inquiries, collections account, and public records. Let me ask you this, just from what I just did. Is there a difference between your credit file and your credit report? I'm going to tell you, but I'm seeing if you are paying attention. Is there a difference between your credit report and your credit file? What is the difference? Yes. Thank you very much, Dr. Kennedy. Your credit file is all the information that the credit bureau has on you. Your credit report is certain amount of that information that is within the statute of limitation. I'm going to tell you what that means. So your credit file, and watch this, and it's important for you to guard what is in your credit file. Your credit file is all the information that they have ever collected on you. You can get stuff deleted out of it, and if you pull it, okay, you need to pull it. And there are different bureaus that have this. You have bureaus that collect your insurance information. LexisNexis, every car that you have ever had, every insurance that you have paid and lapse on, they have that data. All of that data they have on you. The credit file, everything they have on you. Your credit report is what is within the last 7 years. For bankruptcy, the last 10 years. Bankruptcy statute of limitation on your credit report is 10 years. On regular account, derogatory accounts, 7 years. So when you pull your credit report, they only can show you items that are within the last 7 years. Once it is past that and it is negative, it's not supposed to be there. Positive accounts just stay there continuously. Are we listening? Or I need to run that back. Negative accounts, once they are not bankruptcy, 7 years. Bankruptcies up to 10 years. Now, why I'm giving you that information? If you apply for a job and your salary is more than $150,000, or life insurance and it's more than $150,000, the credit bureau can show them information that is older than the 7 years. You are not going to see that information, but they can show them once it's more than $150,000 for your salary or the life insurance. This is why if you have negative things, you need to get it out of your file. Because if your potential employer run the file and get access to that negative information that is past 7 years, it can affect you. Does this make sense? So your credit report is a snapshot of your credit file that is within the statute of limitation. Any question? Any question? Next slide, please, Chris. Give me what is a standard credit report, that one. Are we following? Are we learning? Go ahead. I'm going to get to that probably the next time I come here. He's asking, how do you use your credit to make money? You can make money a lot of ways. I'm going to answer that the next time I come here. You can use your credit cards. You can generate income from your credit cards. How many of you have cashback credit cards? That give you cashback, right? How much is the cashback? 5% of what you spend. So if you spend $5,000, how much is 5%? 500, right? So if that card is $20,000, how much is 5%? Huh? I'm just giving you one basic lesson. If the card is 20 grand, how much is the 5%? 4. 5 fours is what? Mathematician. 20. Yes. So how much are we working with there? 20 grand. So what if you have $20,000 in cash? Watch me now. Show you how to make money with your credit. What if you have $20,000? So you have $20,000 for the month in expense. And you would have to find that cash anyway. Correct? Because it's monthly expense. Let me get back on my camera. I forgot that I'm on camera. And you have the cash. What if you use the card to pay it? No. You have the cash. You have the 20 grand on the card. But you use the card to pay the $20,000 in monthly expense. And then after you pay it, you use the 20 grand in cash to pay off the card. How much money you just generate without doing anything different from what you would normally do? $2,000 in the cash back. So you just generate $2,000 in income for the month, doing the same things that you would have been doing. But because you are not educated on the credit, you never know you could generate income that way. Does this make sense? What? So if the church have a lot of expense and it have cashback card and it has the money, what the church must do? Use the card and pay it back and generate the income. That's $500 a week. You can even make it more impressive. If it's mileage cards and you have the money, you can fly first class. You can pay for hotels without paying with your cash. A lot of stuff you can do. And that is just one area that you can leverage it in. One area. Go ahead, Sister Bev, and then I'm gonna make the rules strict of the questions coming afterward. But I can't help myself. I like the interaction. Go ahead. I will tell you how. You need it too? You need it in your life? I'm joking. All right, are we cooking? Sister, and evangelist, go ahead, and then that's it. I'm going to get there. I'm going to show you, because your credit report is used for so many things that you don't even know. I'm going to get to it. I have it in the slides. All right, what does a standard credit report look like? How many of you have ever seen your credit report? All right, so what a standard credit report looks like, at the top of it, we call it the personal identifiers, right? Your social, your name, all your address, and I am going to tell you, when we deal with fixing your credit, I am going to tell you what that must look like. Because that information is what they use to match information to you. Your personal information does not calculate in your credit score. Doesn't affect your credit score, but it affects whether or not you look stable. To lenders, you have 15 address. You look like a nomad. You look like you're not stable. You have 10 different names. Sister Beckford, you apply at Verizon and you are Maxine Beckford. And then you apply at Sprint and you are Mac Beckford. And then you apply T-Mobile, you're Beckford. Where are we going with that? You look like a con artist to the lender. Because you have so many different names. It's either you are doing identity theft or you are conning and getting by. Sister Beckford, I did not see that in the spirit. I'm just making I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. One name, yeah. Another one where Jesus gave. Praise God. All right, how are we going? Are we doing well? Yes. All right. So we have the personal identifier, your social, your date of birth, all of that. When we deal with credit repair, I'm going to show you how to structure that. Then we have accounts that they are formally called trade lines. These, you have primary and you have secondary. I am going to show you the importance of the secondary one. The primary ones are the ones that you open in your name. The secondary one is where someone add you to their credit and allow it to be reflected on your credit. Those are not calculated the same way in the scoring algorithm. Then after that, we have odd inquiries. Do we know what odd inquiries are? Your credit. There's two types of inquiries that appear on your credit report. Do you know them? Odd and soft. What are the soft ones? That's it. But that's not the only reason why they're there. All right, so when you apply for credit, so for example, let me ask you this. How many of you have had credit cards before and out of nowhere you see your credit limit go up or go down? Which one of them? Down? Both. The soft inquiries do that. So the creditor can go back and pull your credit because they have what we call a permissible purpose, or you have a credit relationship with them, so they can go back and check if you still met the requirements that you were at when they extend credit to you. If your credit score goes down, or you get a negative account, they can take back the credit or pull it down. That's where the soft inquiry would pull up. Or if you apply for a credit limit increase, then they might pull hard. Chase like to do hard pull, capital one. Some of them do soft. The soft one, they would do it and it would show up. Why that is important? Let me tell you why that is important. That is important because of your right to privacy. Let me tell you what the odd inquiry really is. Prior to 1970, which is the passage of the Fair Credit Reporting Act, that governs your credit data and your data when it comes on to your consumer reporting agencies. That is the law that governs that. Other laws basically affect it, but that's the primary law. credit bureaus used to just give people access to people information. So what the government did is encode your right to privacy within the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So no one should or ought to access your credit report or any of your consumer report without your consent. Especially if it's a hard credit pulls, it has to be with your written consent. Now, the hard inquiry section is where you see who accessed your credit report in the last 2 years. Are we clear? That is really what that is for. It is the only part of the FCRA that carries criminal penalty. If they give access to your credit report recklessly, the person who does it can do jail time. This is how serious this information is. Because your credit report affects your life. There are individuals who commit suicide because of their credit report. Because they try to buy a house, try to buy a car, and they can't move forward. They are married and can't take care of their family because every job they apply for, they get turned down. Every house, and they couldn't take it no more and take their life. So the government makes sure that this information is not treated lightly. That's what the hard inquiries are for. Then collections account. Everyone know what collections are, right? When you owe debts and you don't pay them, or in cases that I am documenting, now I have a book that will be added to the series that was there. Finish it. I'm just editing it. And I document debt collectors who are creating debt, putting it on individuals' credit report and tell them that they owe them that didn't owe them. You hear what I said? And harass people and get them to pay them. Yep, I document it, but I'm finished editing that book. I finished writing it. I just need to edit it. It's basically how to deal with debt collectors. Consumer can use it, but it's for consumers, but more for business credit repair companies. Public records. What are some of the public records? Bankruptcy, which is one of the most deadly ones. Lasts for 10 years on your credit report. And judgment, if you owe a debt, and the debt collector carry you to court and win, they become what is known in the world of credit as a judgment creditor. By law, they now function like a creditor, and it goes on your credit report. Next slide. So that's the basic makeup of your credit report. Next slide, please. What is your credit score, and how is it different from your credit report? Did you realize that your credit report is different from your credit score? Huh? All right. What is your credit score? What is your credit score? What does the number do? We know what the number is for? How credit worthy it is. Thank you. That's what the number basically is for. Sorry. What the number predicts. Are you listening to me? Let me tell you what that number does. Because what used to happen back in the days, prior to the 1950s when FICO, we know what FICO is, a FICO score? Fair Isaac Corporation. It's an abbreviation. FICO develops the algorithm. So when you used to apply for credit prior to they developed the algorithm in the 50s, but it became prominent in the late 80s and 90s, right? When someone wanted to check on your credit, they would call the credit bureau or actually go to the office. Somebody there would pull out your credit file, the hard copy, read it to them, and then make a judgment on your credit worthiness. What is the problem there? Very subjective. because it was a human being telling whether or not you should get credit. And there were certain things that used to be in your credit report as well. That is no longer there. You're a wife beater, sometimes that's in your credit report. You're a thief, or you have a case before, sometimes that's in your credit report. But the government makes sure that that info is no longer present. So what FICO did is to make the process much faster by creating the algorithm that generates the score. What your credit score does, in reality, it pulls it against other people that have the same score and predict whether or not you will default on the potential loan in the next 90 days. That's what your credit score is actually doing. The higher it is, it's telling a story that you are not going to default in the next night. The lower it is, it's saying, don't trust him. He's not going to be able to pay you back after 90 days. That's what your credit score does. But how is it that your credit score come about? Your credit score is generated from the data that is in your credit report. Are we seeing this? So the algorithms look over the data that is in your credit report and then generates the score. So if you control the data that is in your credit report, what will happen to your credit score? Yes, you control what your credit score look like. So the credit score is not a guessing game. If you understand how it's working, you will know how to work it in your favor. Are we getting this? The credit score is generated from the data that is in your credit report. And once you control that data, you will control what your score looks like. So the difference between your credit score and your credit report is the data. Your score is a numerical evaluation predicting what your behavior will like based upon the data that's in your credit report. Understand the difference? So if we want to have good credit, which part we should pay attention to? Huh? What's in the credit report? Yes, what's in the file? That's what you pay attention to. So what is there, you control what is there to the best of your ability. Next slide, please. Am I doing good so far? We learning? So what is the purpose of the credit score? All right. So I'm going to tell you some of what it is used for. Watch this. Your credit score is used by lenders, landlords. Did you know that your credit score was used for insurance? Were you aware of this? Employment. When you're looking at a job. All right, let me run something by you. For the landlord, when you go to rent a place, sometimes it's not just one consumer report that is used. Sometimes it's 3 or 4. You have your credit report, which speaks to your financial responsibility, correct? Then you might have a background screening consumer report that run your background and tells of your moral conduct, whether you were a thief, you were in prison, or anything like that. That comes about in a background screening consumer report. Now, all of these can be corrected. The same law that governs disputes with your credit report governs those. So if you have a misdemeanor in your background, you can dispute it and get it off. And then with that, you have your tenant screening reports. All the history of where you have lived and whether you disappear on the landlord. Or whether you had evictions. All of that you can also fix. Sometimes that will turn up as collections on your regular credit report. So, when you are doing, so watch this now, for insurance, the only part of the insurance that your credit report or consumer report can be used is for underwriting. It can't use for anything else. Just during the underwriting process. How many of us are landlords that rent to other people? Put up your hand or put up your elbow. So we have a few landlords. Let me educate you right here. If you attempt to rent to somebody and you pull their credit report, and this is if the consumer is educated. Listen to me carefully if you are a landlord. If you are a landlord and you rent to someone and you use their credit report or a consumer report to make a decision whether or not to rent to them, especially if you deny them based upon the consumer report, you must tell them that the consumer report played a role. You have to also tell them where you got the report from and give them access to it. If you do not do that, and the consumer is educated, they can actually get you to pay them $1,000. Are we hearing me? Because they have rights under the FCRA that you must disclose to them. Once their consumer report played a role, you must tell them. And you must also give them an adverse action notice. Are we familiar with adverse action notice? Yes, you are, but you just never know. When you apply for credit and they deny you, you notice they email you something right after and tell you that we did not give you because your score was this, and we pulled your credit report right here, and because you have a collection, we didn't give you. That's our hard copy. They tell you we'll mail it to you. That's an adverse action notice. Something like that, as a landlord, you have to tell them. Are we clear? And I am telling you now that are renters, that if the landlord deny you because of your credit and didn't give you that, you can get them to pay you $1,000. I just tell you, you didn't get the adverse action notice. You did not get the adverse action notice. There is two different adverse action notice. One is governed by the Fair Credit Reporting Act. One is governed by the Equal Credit Opportunity Act. They do two different things. Equal Credit Opportunity Act 1 is for discrimination purposes, if you were discriminated against. And they must tell you specifically why they deny you. If they don't tell you that, it's a violation of your rights. You can ask them to settle with you, show the basic violation. But as I said, because you don't really know the law, you're not going to know how to structure it. That's why you have me.
Just a minute. You're selling those books? You wrote those books?
Yes.
So you're selling it all?
Yes. I publish as well. It's the Barrett team. All right, employers. Same thing. The employer, when you're looking for a job, they can use multiple, and I want you to get familiar with the word consumer reports. Multiple consumer reports might be pulled when you're looking for a job. Same like the landlord. Background screening, your regular credit report, and you have employment screening consumer reporting agency that record all the jobs that you have ever had. That is publicly known about, right? Now, watch this. When you apply for the job, if the employer is going to use a consumer report, you has to give them permission. And the document that they will use to get permission from you, are you listening to me? Are you listening to me? I am giving you information that will make your life much easier and allow you to operate with more freedom. The document that will give them authorization cannot be a part of the application document. It has to be separate. And you have to sign it and authorize them to pull your consumer report. If they don't do that, and they use information that is in your consumer report to deny you for the job, same thing like the landlord. They owe you if you are willing to fight it. Individuals have fought this. There was a famous case a couple years ago with Capital One, and the person win hundreds of thousands of dollars. Because it depends on the level of damage that was incurred. Are we clear? Next slide, please. So now we know what our credit report and credit score are used for. All right, these are the different kinds of credit accounts that are there. Notice different kinds, not the different classifications, right? Because I'm going to show you the two kinds of classifications that turn up on your credit report. What are the different kinds of credit? Revolving credit. What are revolving credits? Huh? Yes and no. Revolving are like a credit card or a line of credit that you use, and once you pay it back, it becomes available again. That's why it's revolving. It keeps going around in circle. Once you use it, you pay. Installments. What are installments? Yes. Car loans, mortgage, student loans, those are installments. It means that you have a set period of time, right, to pay it off in an exact set amount of payments. While the revolving, you don't have a set period of time. Once you pay it on your due date, the money comes back and you keep going. Charge card. What is a charge card? Huh? Some credit cards are charge card, but not all credit cards are charge card. Let me show you what a charge card is. You know what a charge card is, but you didn't realize it. No, I'm gonna give it to you. How many of you have Bank of America? Not Bank of America, sorry. American Express. This card carries a lot of weight on your credit. When you use it, what happens when you have to pay it back? When do you have to pay back everything? The due date. That's a charge card. So the difference between a charge card and a regular credit card, and a charge card, you can't carry a balance. A regular credit card, you can pay on the due date, a minimum payment, and carry the balance. A charge card, everything is due once the due date comes. We see the difference? That's what a charge card is. That is why it carries so much weight, because you have to be more financially responsible to have it. Because once you use it, you got to pay it all off. That's what a charge card is. So once you have a charge card, it means that, so when a creditor tell you, I am going to give you a charge card, make sure you understand what they are saying. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. If you had known it, you wouldn't need me here. That's what the charge card is. You got to pay back everything at once. So once they tell you that's the kind of card, that's it. Service credit. What is service credit? Service credit. What is service credit? Your utilities. Right? Your utilities. It's a form of credit. The utility, Con Edison, they extend your credit through the utilities and you pay for it after you use it. I use the word open account, but that's not the technical name, but I use it to help you understand. What is an open account? I'm going to go back again because they are the best example of this, even though there are more of them. No, we're talking about the 5 types of credit accounts. No. you usually have to be it's either you're well informed about credit and money to know this, or you are actually at a certain pay grade where they offer you this. Are you familiar with American Express Black Card? If you're familiar, that means your pocket looks different. Do we know what the American Express Black Card is? No limit. So it's not like a $5,000 card. You use it, even though technically there's an algorithm going on behind of it, but you don't have a credit limit. So you can walk into a dealer and buy a $100,000 car and it would go through. Or anything like that. But they would have already evaluated your financials before they give you something like this. So that's what I have there listed as an open account. You have no limit on it. You just do whatever you want to do, and then you spend and pay it back. No, that's not that. When you get to a certain amount of money, they offer you this. Yes. Yes, the annual fee is massive. But if you have that amount of money and that level of access, $600 is like 60 cents to you. When you get to a certain amount of money, money don't look the same way. You had your hand up, Evangelist? Huh? Yes, not so good for you. Once you have open accounts, and I'm running ahead of myself. Once you have open accounts, don't really attack and close them. It can negatively affect your credit. I'm going to show you why when I get there. Next slide, please, Dr. Chris. 2 types of account only turn up on your credit report. Revolving and installments. Clear? It's either you're paying off the debt in installments or it's revolving. The most common form of revolving are line of credit. And how many of us are familiar with line of credit? What is line of credit?
They give you a certain amount of money and you only, whatever you use is what you
pay back and pay interest on. But what is the money in the form of? Cash. It's not like a card where you're tied up, it's cash. So this is another way how you can use credit to build wealth, is to get access to cash that you didn't work for, but your credit give you access to. Line of credit. You can do this with real estate. This is one of the common forms that you get it in. You have a house or you have a building and you actually have equity in it. You can take out a line of credit based on the equity. And you don't take out a loan. So when you use it, you pay it back and it keeps coming back in a circle. So it's like you're using the money from the house and keep spending it, paying back yourself, and you keep having access to it. Make sense? That is another way where you can use your credit as a tool, because suppose you have a business that you want to buy. You take the equity out the building, buy the business is generating cash flow, you pay back the line of credit, you still have the cash in the line of credit, and now you have a business with cash flow that you didn't have before. And it was not your money you used, but your credit. And you can buy businesses. Listen, let me say this. Another way how you can use your credit to make money and even buy real estate is to do a seller's finance, where it's only your credit into play. And they give you the business. And the money that is generated from it, you pay them it back through that money. Somebody have their hand up and then we press. Go ahead. Not good. Let me press on, you will see why I answer that question through one of the slides. If you have credit, don't really close them out. Just manage them responsible. And you don't want to have them just sitting down there to and not using them, because the bank will take it back. And that lick you worse when the bank take it back than when you close it. Next slide. Next slide. I covered that. Next one. What are the two main type of credit scores? Let me say this to you. You don't only have one credit score. FICO alone have over 39 score. When you're buying a car, it's usually a different score when you're dealing with traditional dealers that is used from your regular FICO score. It's called a FICO Auto. This don't stop at 850, this stop at 900. And that credit score basically look at your history of buying cars. When you're applying for a credit card, they usually use your bank rate, basically score. That look at how you have behaved with credit cards. The mortgage score is much more meticulous, so you have a lot of different. But there's two different scoring models. How many of you have Credit Karma? You have Credit Karma, Julian? I just see you, you're hiding from me. Oh, you just come, so I'm not ask you doubles. How many of you have Credit Karma? How many have your FICO through probably your Experian app? When you look on both of them, your score ever look the same? No. Why? I don't know. I'm going to tell you why. The answer is there. They're using two different scoring models. FICO, you are seeing FICO in your Experian, while Credit Karma is using your Vantage score. FICO, so when you are dealing with FICO, what the credit bureaus do, FICO owns the algorithm that generates the score, and they license it to the credit bureau. So every time it is used, FICO get paid, and the credit bureau gets paid. The Vantage score is made by 4 credit bureaus to compete with FICO, but FICO still dominates the market. So your Vantage score is a scoring model that was built by Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, and another consumer reporting agency called Innovis. They own Vantage, and they built it to compete with FICO. So once you are looking at a lot of the apps that you use to see your credit score, most of the time it's the Vantage you're going to see. That's why it looks different from your FICO. If they tell you it's FICO, then it's FICO. That's why they look different, because one is using Vantage and one is using FICO. So one is pulling up in a Mercedes, one is pulling up in a BMW. Huh? FICO, because 90% of lenders basically use the FICO. If you're going to buy a house, do not look at your Vantage, because the lender is not going to use a Vantage to evaluate it to buy a house. Pastor Jack.
So if Vantage score is a combination of Equifax, TransUnion, and when Credit Karma gets the information from Vantage, what I find still is that my score with Experian or TransUnion is still higher than what Credit Karma has. And something else.
I'm going to tell you why.
If I use my money on the card, Credit Karma pull my score down. Just the use of it.
If your utilization becomes much higher, then you will see that. But let me say this to you. Let me try and remember what you just said so I can go back to it. It just slipped my mind. Yes, so what happens? The segments that I'm going to go into here that makes up your FICO score is different from the Vantage. FICO has 5, Vantage of 6. And even the one that Vantage masters with FICO is much higher. So that's why your behavior is being seen differently depending on which one you look at. Because what is going on the back end of the score is different. Next slide. This is the segments that make up your credit score. These are not the only things that affects your credit score. There are things in it that we don't know because it's trade secret. But these are the main segments that make up your credit score. So you want to have a 700 score, you got to know this. Payment, so let me say this. What is the range of your credit score in points? 300 to 850. Watch this. 300 at that point is a given. You don't need to do anything to get that. You only control 550 with your behavior. This is how the 550 is broken down. Payment history controls 35% of your credit score. Out of 550, that is 192.5 points. So if you have 100% payment history and you have 300 that is a given, how much points do you have? 492.5. Your credit card, your utilization, what is your utilization? That measures your debt against your available credit. Are you following me? So it's not good to max out your card and don't pay it back. This is responsible for 162 points. Are you following? Your utilization, which is measured by your credit cards and if you have line of credit, your installment loans are not calculated in your utilization. Are you following me? Are you getting tired or I can go on? All right. If you said no, I would still go on. I'm joking. I got to let you laugh somewhere. All right. 165 and 192.5. How much are we at? Just take 10 from the 165, plug into the 192, and we're at 200, and then what we have left, down by the bottom. Pastor Jack? 555. 655. Because we're over 300 with the 192 and the 165. How much are we at now? Just controlling those 2 points. We are in fear credit. Once you're over 640, you are in fear. So just controlling those 2 parts alone, you are at 650. All you need is just control one more of these 3 and you have a 700 score. Why shouldn't you close an account? Because the age of your credit controls 15% of your credit score, which is 82.5 points. So, once you are under 5 years on the history of your credit, you're kind of a baby. If you're under 2 years, nobody really wants to see you. And your credit age is an average of the age of your account. So if you have a card that you had for 9 years, and your credit history is 10 years, and you take away that 9 years card, what will happen to you? It will affect the age of your credit. Because the longer you have established credit, it shows that you can manage credit. The lender wants to see that you have had a history in managing credit. It's called credit experience. Just as how you need job experience, the lender needs to see that you have credit experience. And the accounts that you have, whether they are closed or open, affects that. Make sense, Pastor Palmer? Mixture of credit. You remember the 2 types of accounts that I tell you that you have? What are they? What are the 2 classifications of account that you have? We just cover it. Revolving and you need both of those on your credit. So credit cards alone is not that good. You need installments because the lenders need to see that you can deal with different kinds of accounts. That is responsible for how much? 55 points. Then, new credit. Another 10% of your score, 55 points. Why they need to see that? It is not good for you to open a lot of new accounts in close proximity. Because you appear to lenders as if you are desperate. And sometime, I have a friend of mine years ago that I taught and allowed him, you remember about credit? You asked me the question. I allowed him to get close to $70,000 in 2 weeks. Right? Could you work $70,000 in 2 weeks? Who here have a job that they could work $70,000 in 2 weeks? Who is here that could work $70,000 in 2 weeks? Huh? None of us here have that job that will pay us that into. But I allowed him by teaching him to get 70 grand in 2 weeks. But here the mistake that I made at the time, because I wasn't as savvy as I am now, I allowed him to open the account too fast. So Chase took back 12.5 out of it. Instantly close it. Because we eat Wells Fargo, we eat Capital One, we eat Citibank, 70 grand. But Chase, 2 weeks later, but by the time they did that, we already leveraged that 12 grand. We used it to do something. So by the time they closed the account, we got the benefit.
Doing it?
Huh?
Doing
Doing what? No, hey, listen, no, Julian, this is how it works. Once your credit score is at a certain level, there's a way to play the game. And once you understand how to play it, that's how you access the money. And some of this money we access not just in credit cards, but we access them also in loan. You understand what I'm saying? So we had cash. So the new credit is responsible. So every 2 years or so you want to add something. You understand? Why? No, why I say every 2 years? Because the odd inquiry is going to last 2 years and you don't want to have too much inquiries. So for example, if you have an 800 credit score and you have more than 4 odd inquiries in the last 2 years and you go to Chase, they're going to deny you. Because you have too much inquiries in the last 2 years. Some banks use that as part of their underwriting process. So you got to control the odd inquiry part as well. You don't want more than 4. Next slide. And let me try.
What I noticed is that in items that determine your score,
Yes.
the inquiry does not play a part. I have
55, it does.
inquiry was listed there.
Yes. 55 points.
Second question, how long does these hard inquiries stay on your
So let me say this to you, because this is a war that I have been raging in my dispute. By law, it's only under the FCRA. Only employment hard inquiry should be on your credit report for 2 years. Regular credit inquiry should be 1 year. But the credit bureaus are holding it for 2. And the government is allowing them to do it. So, under normal circumstances, it's 2 years. Especially if it's tied to an open account. If it's not tied to an open account, you can challenge it. I'm going to do 2 more and then wrap up and push back the rest till when I come back because I don't want to overload you. Yes. I fix credit. When I get to the end, I will give you my information if you need to see me. You don't have to be embarrassed. You can tell me a secret and I will help you. Go ahead, sister. I'm not going to share it with the lenders. And I won't talk loud over the counter. Sister Nicole.
You won't share it with your wife neither.
My wife is a part of the business. A lot of the underwriting is being done by AI. A lot of the underwriting is being done by AI, and not just in that area. Even in the pricing that you are seeing for goods, AI is wreaking havoc. When you book an Uber ride, AI is generating the price for you, and sometimes depending on your spending habits or your behavior, showing you one price while they're showing somebody else a different price for the same thing. Go ahead. That's it. And that's why you need to control your footprints online. Some of the apps that you use on your phone, when you download them, you have actually given them permission to be able to scan other apps that are on your phone. I was trying to remember something that I read a while back. It's a true story, but I couldn't remember it this morning because I wanted to incorporate it. I don't remember how it went, but it went something like this. Where Bank of America, not Bank of America, American Express, was looking on the profile and the buying habits of their clients. And they saw a pattern emerge. Anyone that buys nails usually default within 120 days. Once they see you order nail, what do you think they are doing? Either drop your limit or shut you down. You don't know that they're doing that, but they're gathering all of this data on you to make decisions to affect you. I don't remember exactly where I read it, but I know I read because I eat, sleep, and drink this. No, literal nail. Yes. Listen to me. There are correlations that are made in behavior that the banks use. And you might not realize the pattern. Yes, nail as in nail. The pattern that emerge in their data of the clients that they have a sample of almost everyone that they see by nail. Within a couple of months, they default. It doesn't mean that it basically correlates. It can be by accident, but enough sample is there in the data where they took it seriously. You notice that Amazon, when you buy, they circle you back and say, people who buy this that you buy usually like this. Same thing. They don't know if you are going to like it, but they have seen enough data that says that people who like this usually likes this. That's the kind of thing. So big data is no joke. Hold it. I'm going to take the questions at the end. Let me do this. So what you need to have a FICO score, you have to at least have an account for 6 months. So if you're going to build credit, you don't want to have a loan or something that you take out for under 6 months, or else it's not going to help you. Vantage score, once you open it, you get a file. But FICO, you need it for 6 months. Next slide, and then I'm done, and I'll come back and do some more. The breakdown of credit. Excellent credit, 800 to 850. Very good credit, 740 to 799. Good credit, 680 and up. Got to be over 680 to be considered good. Fair credit, 580 and up. Anything under 580, you are poor. Final slide, Chris, and then I take your questions. Watch this. Look on the difference between good credit and bad credit. I want to leave you with this so you understand the importance of making sure you maintain good credit. Watch this. $25,000 loan, same loan. Because sometimes our credit affects us and we don't really. So you see the question that you asked? Fix your credit. Oh, I'll get to it. And I'm bleeding money and don't realize it. I'm believing I'm saving money, not fixing it. Watch this. Same loan, $25,000. When you have excellent credit, how much percent? 4%. What is your interest? 2,600. Excellent credit. Same exact loan. You have poor credit. That means you're under 580. How much percent? How much is the interest that you pay on that same loan? 50% interest. When your credit is bad, you think you can negotiate that? No. So it costs you $9,000. More. Just because your credit is bad. So if you don't think your credit affect your money, you have a next guest coming. Questions, please, and then I'm done. Brother Jonathan. Okay. He asked me the question of how you opt out. So there's a website that you go on. Let me try and pull up this website. I think it's let me just pull it up. It's called don't remember this site out of my head. Let me just pull it up. Give me a second, please. Any other question? Let me answer the question while I'm pulling up this website. Pre-screening, I think it's called pre-screening. Questions. Yes.
When you make an inquiry, if you suspect that someone is using your credit,
Yes.
and you apply, that is going to put some kind of information on your credit report. What is it called?
Identity theft. So once they apply for credit and it comes on your credit report, it's identity theft. And the easiest way to solve that is call the credit bureau and tell them that you did not authorize the auto inquiry and ask for the fraud department, and they will take it off.
So what I find is when you do that,
Shh.
and you're applying for mortgage, they want that off your credit report before they can proceed.
And while you are actually applying for the mortgage, you can't have your credit report marked as dispute. So you got to get it done. Yeah, you got to get it done and then take off the dispute, because I have clients that I fix to buy house. And once I tell them begin, I make sure that I get all of that off, because once they see it, they're not going to process your application. So it's optoutprescreen.com. That's where you Are we hearing this? Optoutprescreen.com. Yes, and you opt out here, and you get them. See, it is the official consumer reporting industry website to accept process requests from consumer opting out from firm offer of credit and insurance. So opt out, write it down, optoutprescreen.com. That's how you opt out. Once you go there, you can set it, and they can't send anything to you until you basically free it up back. Next question. Any other question? All right. Hold on, let me hear the question. Can we hold down the talking, please? I'm finishing up. Go ahead, Sister Julian. No, Credit Karma is just, what Credit Karma is, an affiliate website. That's what it really is. All of those cards and stuff that you're seeing, once you get anything through them, they get paid. And what they use to leverage traffic and make hundreds of millions is to show you that Vantage score. And you saying, I'm monitoring my score, when you're actually bringing business to them. We give you $50 because they're going to get more from the creditor in you getting that product than the $50 that they would give you. And they already know what your credit profile look like, and they know what the underwriting is, so that's why they can tell you. So it's a way to bait you into allowing them to get paid. It's a game. Anyone else? All right, that's my information there. If you need my business card, are you following me? Do you need a business card? You're going to text this. Text to this number, and I send you the business card. 347 965 9037. 347 965 9037. And when you text there, just text business card, and I will send you the business card. Okay? So if your credit is 4, 5, or 6, more likely than not, you need work. Doesn't necessarily mean that your credit is bad in terms of negative, but you will need work. No, 965. 965 9037. And I will send you the business card. And if you ever need to talk to me, you can call that number. Any other questions, Sister Beckford? You ready to go? Huh? If I'm expensive? No, I'm not expensive. And everyone in the church, because I have clients in the church, everyone in the church that I work with, I give them discount.
Do anything free?
If I do anything free, depend on the nature of the religion. Listen, I have help. Hold on, Sir P. Let me answer that. Because this is not about business. This is me helping the church. I have people that I have helped for free. I'm not telling you I am going to help you for free. But I have people in the church I have helped for free. Period, full stop. And that have changed their life. All right, let us stand. Did you enjoy yourself? We learn? You need me to come back? All right, so the next, Sister Beverly. Oh, you were ailing me up? So the next time I come back, we will discuss the fixing of a credit and finish the slides. And then if I come back after that, we will deal strictly with debt collection. How many of you, no, I'm not going to tell you to do that because you're not going to tell me. If you have debt collectors that you're dealing with, then you talk to me. Let us stand. Bro. You know that all along we didn't record this and never press record? All of the time we have the notes. No. I need to put up the Let us pray. Let us pray. And thank you to the men's department. I hope that I've made you proud and I've added value to your department. Thank you for the invite. Let us pray. Eternal God and everlasting Father, we thank you this afternoon for your loving kindness, for your grace, your mercy, your peace that passeth all understanding. Your word tell us, dear God, that with you is the beginning of wisdom, knowledge, and that extends far beyond just spiritual knowledge, but all knowledge. Lord, I ask you that your people's life may be changed and transformed, and that we may take all of our freedom and the opportunities that you have given us in carrying us to this land, a land of opportunity. And may our success mean success for the church. Cover us now by your blood as we depart. Take us to our separate abode safely. Cover us and carry us safely. In Jesus' name, amen. Praise God. And if you need me to help you in any way, like this, you know people that you want to teach credit, you talk to my wife and she will put you on the calendar if it works. Praise God. Thank you very much. I'll see you when they tell me to come back again. Benediction.